You want to be perfect? Then stop wishing and start practicing? See, everybody wants greatness, but not everybody wants to grind for it. Everybody wants the rewards, but nobody wants to repeat the reps. Let me tell you something. Practice isn't something you do when it's easy. It's something you live when nobody's watching, when it's cold, when it's painful. You don't get perfect by showing up once a week. You get perfect by showing up every single day when it's hard, when it's boring, when nobody's clapping for you. You get perfect by doing the thing 1,000 times until the thing becomes a part of you. Don't just do it until you get it right. Do it until you can get it wrong. That's what mastery is. So what champions are made of. That's what Kobe did. That's what Serena did. That's what you got to do. You want to stand out? Then be the one who practices more than anybody else. Because when the lights come on, it's too late to prepare. Winners win because they practiced the moment thousands of times before it came. Stop being average. Stop hoping for perfection. Practice it. Sweat for it. Bleed for it. Own. Let me break this down for you real right. Most people out here are practicing just enough to look good. Just enough to get by. Just enough to pass. But I'm not talking to those people right now. I'm talking to you, the one who says they want to be great. The one who says, I want to leave a legacy. If that's you, then you got to stop practicing to get it right and start practicing until you can't get it wrong. Let me tell you something. There's a big difference. See, getting it right means you can pull it off sometimes. You can get lucky. You can hit the shot when no one's watching. You can give a great speech when you're not nervous. You can execute when conditions are perfect, but life doesn't give you perfect conditions. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. The championship moment doesn't come with a warning sign. So if you only practice to get it right, you're not ready for pressure. You're not ready for the spotlight. You're not ready for adversity. Because when the moment hits, you'll hesitate. You'll second guess. And in that 1 second of doubt, you lose. But if you practice until you can't get it wrong, now we're talking about greatness. We're talking about doing it over and over and over and over again until it's automatic, until it's second nature, until no matter what's going on, storm, stress, pressure, crowd, you still deliver. You think Kobe Bryant practiced just to get it right? That man was in the gym at 4 a.m. getting up 1,000 shots a day. Not because he wanted to get it right, because he wanted to be so locked in that in the fourth quarter, down by 2-3 guys in his face. He still knocks it down. Why? Because he had already hit that shot 10,000 times in practice. That moment wasn't new to him. That pressure was familiar. He practiced until he couldn't miss. That's the mindset you need. And I'm not just talking about basketball. I'm talking about your craft, your calling, your mission. Whether it's speaking, teaching, coding, parenting, engineering, or creating. Don't you dare settle for just getting it right. You go all in. You go hard. You go past the point of good enough. You keep grinding until nobody on this planet can outdo you in your lane. Let me give you this. Your gift will open the door, but your discipline will keep it open. You might be talented enough to get a shot, but if you didn't practice to the point where excellence is automatic, you're gonna fold. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna fall short in front of the people you said you want to inspire. So, what do? You keep showing up every single day. You stop waiting to feel motivated. You stop waiting to be comfortable. You stop chasing applause. You start chasing mastery. Listen to me. The difference between winners and losers ain't talent. It's not background. It's not connections. The difference is this. Winners practice with obsession. They don't stop when it's good. They don't rest when it looks right. They keep going until their performance is unshakable, until it's perfected under pressure. I'm gonna say this slow. If you only practice until you get it right, then every mistake becomes a threat. You'll be fragile. But when you put in so many reps that you can't get it wrong, then failure doesn't scare you anymore. You walk in confident. You show up bold. You execute like it's in your blood. So ask yourself today, are you playing with it or are you practicing for perfection? Are you working just enough to look busy or are you grinding until you own it? Because the world will only reward those who put in the work that nobody sees. Practice in the dark so you can shine in the light. Grind in silence so the results speak loud. No more excuses. No more I did enough. From this day forward, don't you dare just try to get it right. Practice until you can't get it wrong. Let me ask you something real quick. Are you showing up every day to try, or are you showing up every day to dominate? See, a lot of you think practicing a little bit is enough. You think doing just enough will get you to greatness. But let me be honest with you, just enough is the enemy of excellence. Just enough is what average people do. And let me make this crystal clear. You weren't born to be average. You were born with something inside you, something bigger than your circumstances, bigger than your fears, bigger than what people told you you could or couldn't do. But the only way you unlock it, the only way you become who you were created to be, is through relentless, focused, intentional practice, not lazy practice, not distracted practice, not convenient practice. I'm talking about surgical, focused, locked in, obsessive practice, the kind of practice that rewires your brain, the kind that makes your skills so automatic you could do it in your sleep. That's what separates amateurs from professionals. That's what makes the difference between a good life and a great legacy. Let me break it down. When you practice just to get it right, you're basically saying, I want to be able to do this sometime. You're saying, I want to pull this off when the pressure isn't too high. But greatness isn't about doing this sometimes. It's about doing it all the time, under pressure in front of the world, when everything is on the line. Let me give you an example. Imagine a surgeon. Would you want a surgeon who practiced just enough to get it right once? Or do you want the one who practiced until they can't get it wrong? No matter how chaotic the operating room gets. That's life. That's performance. That's your craft. You see, repetition is the mother of skill. Repetition creates confidence. Confidence builds power. And power, that's what makes you dangerous to doubt, dangerous to average, dangerous to mediocrity. Look, I didn't become Eric Thomas overnight. I didn't start out with this voice, this energy, this clarity. I was homeless. I was broken. I was a high school dropout. But what changed my life? Practice, repetition, studying, reading, getting up when others were sleeping, speaking to empty classrooms like they were arenas. Now, I didn't practice to impress. I practiced to transform. You want to be perfect? Start training like your life depends. For many of you, it does. Your dream is dying while you're scrolling. Calling's waiting while you're chilling. Your greatness is bears into the weight of your distraction. So what do? You decide. You make the decision to practice like a pro, to study your craft like a surgeon, to respect your gift like it's your oxygen. You do it until you know it inside out, upside down, backwards, blindfolded. You do it so many times that your mind and body say, this is who we are now. You build a new identity, not a wannabe, not a sometimes achiever. You become a machine of mastery. The person who walks in a room and they feel your work ethic before you even speak. And I promise you, once you reach that level, once you've practiced until you can't miss, until you don't flinch under pressure, until you expect to win, the world will make room for you. Because people recognize power. People feel purpose. People respect precision. So I'm asking you today, how bad do you want it? If you want to be perfect, you better get serious. You better start acting like the next rep is the one that changes your life. You better train like someone out there is working to take your spot. And the only way you beat them is through effort they're not willing to give. No more halfway. No more good enough. No more showing up just to get by. From this moment on, you show up to master, you show up to master, you show up to own it. You practice not until it works, but until it becomes who you are. Because perfect isn't a place you reach by accident. Perfect is built in the dark, in the dark, in the dark, in the grind, one painful rep at a time. Let me break this down for you, slow and deep, so it sinks in. You want to be great, right? You want to win, dominate, become the undeniable best in your field. Then you better start understanding this truth. Repetition is the bridge between average and elite. There is no shortcut, no secret, no magic. You don't get to skip the process. You don't get to wake up one day and just be amazing. You build it, one rep at a time. Let me tell you why repetition matters. Because your body learns, your mind remembers, your spirit adapts. You don't just do it once and get better. You do it so many times, so often, so consistently, that it becomes a part of you. It's no longer something you do, it's who you are. You want to master public speaking? Then speak every day. Speak in the mirror. Speak in the mirror. Speak in the car. Speak until your voice cracks and your throat burns. Speak until you don't even need notes. Until it flows from your soul, not just your mouth. You want to master fitness? Stop reading about it and get under that bar. Reps, reps, reps. Not until you sweat, until you break the ceiling that said you were weak. Until your body starts speaking strength without words. Listen to me. Repetition builds muscle memory. That's not a theory. That's not motivation. That's science. That's truth. Every time you repeat something, your body learns how to do it faster, stronger, smoother. The neurons fire quicker. The movement becomes natural. The skill becomes automatic. That's why athletes shoot 1,000 free throws. That's why fighters shadow box in silence. That's why musicians play scales until their fingers bleed. Because they're not practicing the outcome. They're programming their identity. You want to be great? Then stop saying you want it and start repeating the behaviors that prove it. If you're a writer, write. Not once a week. Every day. Write when you're tired. Write when you're uninspired. Write when nobody reads it. Because one day your pen will write something the world can't ignore. If you're a business owner, sell every day. Follow up every day. Repeat the pitch. Repeat the message. Repeat the process until your brand is burned into people's minds. You see, repetition ain't sexy. That's why most people don't do it. They want excitement, variety, something new every day. But greatness isn't found in new. Greatness is found in repeated excellence. Let me say that again. Greatness is found in repeated excellence. You think Kobe got great from one practice? You think Beyonce rehearses once and shows up flawless? No, they repeated it so many times that when pressure came, they didn't even have to think. It was in their muscle memory, in their spirit, in their instincts. That's what mastery is. The ability to execute under pressure without hesitation because you've done it 1,000 times already. That's why I tell you, repetition creates muscle memory and muscle memory creates mastery. You want to stop freezing under pressure? Then repeat. You want to stop choking in big moments? Then repeat. You want to stop doubting your ability when it counts? Then repeat. Until your confidence isn't based on hype. It's based on history. You know how to win because you've done it again in silence, in pain, and discipline. Look, you can fake talent. You can fake energy, but you can't fake repetition. The grind tells the truth. The repetition reveals the real ones. You can't lie to repetition. It knows if you've been faithful, knows if you showed up. Muscle memory only forms when discipline shows up long after motivation is gone. You don't feel like it, so what? You're tired, so what? Let me tell you something. When is game time? When life puts you on the spot, you won't rise to your level of motivation. You fall to your level of training. So stop waiting for motivation and start falling in love with repetition. Start loving the grind, the repetition, the routine. Because that's where legends are born. No spotlight, no applause, just reps. In the gym, in the dark, just reps. At the keyboard, in the silence, just reps. On the court, on the mic, in the field, every day. So if you're serious about this, if you're really about that life, I dare you to commit. Repeat this until it's yours. Repeat it until the world knows your name. Repeat it until your habits turn into your legacy. Because in the end, you don't become a master by doing it once. You become a master by repeating it until mastery becomes your nature. You see the highlight reels. You see the glory. You see the success, the medals, the money, the spotlight. But what you don't see, what most people would never see, is the real birthplace of greatness. Let me tell you the truth. Champions are made in the dark. They're not made on the stage. They're not made in front of fans. They're not made on the gram, in front of followers or likes. They are made in silence. They are made in the early mornings when the alarm goes off and no one's watching. They are made in the weight room when nobody's filming. They are made in the notebook when nobody claps. They are made in the grind when it's just you and the word. Let me ask you something. Can you be excellent when there's no applause? Because if you can't, you're not ready to be great. If you only show up when the world is watching, you don't want greatness. You want attention. Real greatness, real champions, they're addicted to growth, not glory. They're obsessed with getting better, not getting credit. You think the greats became great by performing on game day? No, they won long before the whistle blew. They won when they were running sprints in the rain, They won when they were doing push-ups after practice. They won when they said a no to the party and yes to purpose. I need you to understand something. If the only time you give 100% is when you think someone is watching, you will always lose to the one who gives 120% when no one's around. Because while you're sleeping, they're grinding. While you're making excuses, they're making progress. While you're talking, they're training. In the dark, in the quiet, in the unseen hours. You know why most people will never be champion? Because they can't handle the dark. They want the bright lights without the blackout. They want the crowd without the crowd, but champions, they're forged in fire and sharpened in silence. Listen to me. The dark is your training ground. The dark is where you prove to yourself that this ain't a phase. This is your identity. The dark is where your character is chiseled, where your will is tested, where your hunger gets louder than your excuses. Anybody can look good when the sun is shining. Anybody can talk big when it's easy, but show me what you do when it's hard. Show me who you are when there's no crowd, no camera, no check. That's the test. That's where champions are born. I was homeless in the dark. I was walking the streets, no coat, no food, no support, in the dark. And it was there, in the silence, in the pain, that I said, I'm not staying here. It was there that I learned to speak with power. It was there that I read, studied, prepared, when no one believed in me, when no one was clapping for me. And now they see the light. Now they hear the message, but they miss the midnights. They miss the midnights. They miss the lonely mornings. They miss the dark. That's why I tell you, don't despise the dark. Embrace it. Don't complain because you're not getting attention. Use the silence. Use the silence. Use the quiet. Use the solitude. That's your space to rise. That's your space to sharpen. That's your space to build something so unshakable that when the light finally finds you, you're unstoppable. See, a champion doesn't get ready when the spotlight hits. A champion is already ready because they practice, because they train, because they sacrifice in the dark. So the next time you feel unseen, unheard, overlooked, good. Because the dark is where your discipline becomes a weapon. The dark is where your mindset gets dangerous. The dark is where you stop performing and start preparing. Every early morning rep, every late night study session, every hour nobody claps for. That's where your greatness is being formed. So I dare you, grind in the dark. Show up when no one's asking, work when no one's asking. Be relentless when nobody's rewarding. Because when the light comes, and it will come, you won't flinch. You won't fold. You won't fake it. You'll dominate it. Why? Because you didn't just show up to perform. You showed up to become. And that is how champions are made. Let's clear the air right now because somebody lied to you. They told you talent was everything. They told you people are just born great. They told you he's gifted or she's just naturally talented. Let me tell you what I know after decades in the trenches. Perfect doesn't come from talent. It comes from grind, grit, and grace. You think I got here because I was born with a gift? No, I was born broke. I was born in chaos. I was born with nothing but pain, but I turned that pain into power. I didn't inherit greatness. I had to earn it. And you're sitting there doubting yourself because you think you're not talented enough. You think because somebody's ahead of you now that you're not destined for more? Let me wake you up. Talent might start the race, but it will never finish it without grit. You don't need talent to get up at 4 a.m. You don't need talent to put in 10,000 reps. You don't need talent to hustle when you're tired. No. You don't need talent to show up day after day after day, even when nobody notices. You need grind. You need to be willing to outwork people with more resources, more followers, more experience. Because that's how you win when the odds are against you. Listen to me. Talent fades when it stops being challenged. But grind never fades. It gets sharper. It gets hungrier. It doesn't need the crowd. It doesn't need the reward. It just needs the mission. Grit is when you keep going after life hits you in the mouth. Grit is when you get knocked down and say, you should have hit me harder. Grit is when the world says, you can, and your soul screams. Watch me. I've seen talented people fail. I've seen gifted athletes quit. I've seen brilliant minds give up when things got tough. Because talent without toughness is just decoration. It looks good, but it can't carry weight. You need grit. You need that deep, ugly, hard, dirty fight inside you that says, I don't care how long it takes, I will not stop. And then after all the grind, after all the grit, you still need grace. Oh. Now you're like, E.T., what do you mean grace? I mean the ability to fail without folding. I mean falling short but still believing. I mean having the humility to start over. I mean giving yourself the compassion to grow through pain, not just go through it. Grace is knowing you're not perfect today, but if you stay in the fire, you'll come out refined. Grace is when God covers you even when you mess up. Grace is when you keep moving, even though you don't feel worthy, even though you made mistakes, even though you took longer than others, but you didn't quit. That's where perfection comes from. Not talent, not speed, not luck, but from people who are willing to grind, grit it out, and receive grace. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not enough, I'm telling you, that thought is a lie. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be born into privilege. You just have to outlast them, outwork them, out-heart them, out-sacrifice them. And you need the grace to forgive yourself when you fall short. Because you're not going to be perfect on day one. But if you stay committed, you will be unstoppable on day 1,000. See, the world respects the result, but it doesn't see the grind. It doesn't see the tears. It doesn't see the nights you wanted to quit. It doesn't see the sacrifices you made when nobody was clapping. But that's okay, because you didn't do it for them. You did it for the person you're becoming. You did it because you saw something in yourself the world couldn't see yet. You did it because you knew perfect isn't a gift. Perfect is a grind. So the next time you doubt yourself, don't look at your talent. Don't look at your talent. Don't look at your path. Look at your work ethic. Ask yourself, am I grinding like I want it? Am I tough enough to keep going? Do I believe enough to forgive myself and grow? If the answer is yes, then congratulations. You don't need talent. You already have the recipe for perfection. Grind, great, grace. That's what makes champion. That's what makes legends. And that's what will make you unstoppable. Let me say this loud so it echoes in your soul. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your discipline. You can write goals all day. You can make vision boards. You can talk big, but none of that matters if your practice isn't consistent. Because your success, listen to me, your success will never, ever exceed your level of consistent practice. You can't fake greatness. You can't skip steps. You only rise as far as your daily habits allow. If your grind is weak, your results will be weak. If your commitment is shaky, your life will be shaky. You say you want to be successful, then why are you inconsistent? Why do you show up hard for 1 week and disappear for 2? Why do you give everything when you feel motivated and nothing when it's inconvenient? That's not how champions are made. That's how amateurs live. Let me give it to you straight. Success ain't about occasional intensity. It's about daily consistency. Anybody can go hard once. Anybody can crush it for a weekend. But real greatness is when you show up every single day, especially when you don't feel like it. Look, discipline ain't sexy. Waking up early, grinding in silence, showing up when no one's watching. That doesn't make headlines. But that's where the foundation is built. That's where character is built. That's where winning becomes inevitable. Because you're not hoping for results, you're training for them. Your results will never magically rise above the standard you consistently set. If you want elite results, you need elite routines. If you want big wins, you need big habits. Success doesn't respond to your emotions. It responds to your consistency. You think Kobe became Kobe because he practiced when he felt good? No, he showed up every day, before practice, after practice. Why? Because he understood the formula. Your greatness is tied to your rhythm. And if your rhythm is inconsistent, your greatness will always be unstable. And you got dreams inside you. But let me tell you, dreams don't work unless you do. And not once, not twice, every single day. You want to write a book? Then write every day, even when it's trash. You want to get fit? Then train every day, even when your body says no. You want to be financially free? Then build that business every day, even when the orders are low. Consistency isn't optional. It's the price of admission. You can't expect championship results with pickup game habits. You can't ask for millionaire rewards with minimum wage effort. Let me hit you with this truth. Your output is a mirror of your practice. What you put in daily is what you get out eventually. But here's the kicker. You won't see the reward immediately. That's why most people quit. They want microwave results from a crock pot process. They want instant glory from inconsistent effort. But success doesn't come on your timeline. It comes after the reps, after the years, after the quiet grind. You gotta fall in love with the process, not just the outcome, not just the outcome, not just the applause. Fall in love with the grind that no one. I need you to get this deep in your spirit. If you can't be trusted with small daily habits, you'll never be trusted with massive blessings. Success is a slow drip. It doesn't flood your life overnight. It trickles in through faithfulness, through discipline, through repetition. So stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is a move. Consistency is a choice. And the people who win, the people who dominate, the people who live in the top 1%, they made the choice to be consistent long after the feelings faded. So what's your level? Can you be counting on? Can your future count on you to show up today? Because if you don't respect your routine, the world won't respect your dream. If you don't respect your schedule, you'll always be a servant to someone else. Your greatness isn't your goals. Your greatness is in your grind. And that grind has to be consistent, even when it's not fun. Even when it's hard, even when it feels pointless. Because I promise you, every single day you show up is a brick. And one day those bricks become a fortress, a life, a legacy, a level of success that average people can't even understand. But it all starts here. Be consistent, be faithful, be disciplined, because your success will never rise higher than your practice. Listen to me. You want people to believe in you. You want to be respected, recognized? You want to build a name that holds weight? Then hear this loud and clear. Repetition builds reputation. Not one lucky moment. Not one viral post. Not one highlight reel. It's what you do over and over and over again that tells the world who you really are. You don't get to call yourself a beast because of one great day. You get that title when you show up daily and dominate repeatedly. You build a name by building habits. You earn respect by doing it when nobody's looking and doing it again and again. You can fake hype. You can fake effort for a little while, but you can't fake consistency. Repetition is the truth teller. Repetition is the separator. Repetition is what turns average into unstoppable. You think Kobe became Kobe by shooting one time. You think Serena by practicing once in a while. They built their legacy shot by shot, swing by swing, day by day. Reputation isn't created with your mouth. It's carved into reality by your grind, and repetition is the chisel. You want to be known as the hardest worker in the room? Then you got to be the hardest worker in the room. Every room. Not just when the cameras are on, not just when you feel good, but when you're tired, when it's inconvenient, when it's boring. Because reputation isn't about the big moments. It's about the small ones, done well, done often. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Reputation isn't built by what you do occasionally. It's built by what you do repeatedly. You show up early every day, that's your reputation. You make excuses every time it gets hard, that's your reputation. You only grind when people are watching, that's your reputation. You quit halfway through every journey, that's your reputation. You don't get to choose whether you build a reputation. You only get to choose what kind you build. And if you want to build a reputation of greatness, if you want your name to hold weight, you better start respecting repetition. Because repetition is where skill is born. Repetition is where focus is sharpened. Repetition is where excellence becomes automatic. You want to be clutch under pressure? Repetition. You want to stay sharp when life hits hard? Repetition. You want to walk into a room and own it without saying a word? Repetition. Your resume don't matter if your habits don't match. Your Instagram bio don't matter if your work ethic doesn't back it up. Your potential means nothing if your practice isn't persistent. See, everybody wants the brand, but they don't want the boring. Everybody wants to shine, but they don't want the shadow work. Everybody wants to be known, but they don't want to repeat the small things until it's second nature. That's the difference between amateur and elite. The amateur practices until they get it right. The elite, they practice until they can't get it wrong. That's repetition. You keep looking for new hacks, new tools, new shortcuts. But the truth, the hack is repetition. The shortcut is discipline. The secret is doing the same boring, basic things with elite focus, elite intensity, and elite consistency. You don't have to be the most talented. You just have to be the most repeated. Let the world get tired of saying your name because it shows up so often it can't be ignored. That's how you build a reputation. Not with words, not with potential, but with relentless repetition. So here's what I need from you. I need you to practice like you're already where you want to be. I need you to move like your name is already legendary. I need you to repeat greatness so many times that it becomes your default setting. Because repetition builds reputation. And your future depends on the one you're building today. So stop talking, stop dreaming, stop waiting, start doing, start repeating, start earning. One rep at a time, one day at a time, one grind at a time, until your name speaks before you do. Let me talk to the ones out there waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for everything to line up, waiting for motivation to hit you like lightning. Let me tell you something real. Growth doesn't come from big leaps. It comes from small steps done daily. You keep looking for the elevated success, but there's only one way up, and it's called the stairs. And you don't climb stairs by jumping to the top. You climb one step. You climb one step, then another. That's how you grow. That's how you win. You want to be great. Then stop chasing massive moves and start making micro progress. Because the truth is, small steps, when done daily, lead to massive growth. Every day, every grind, every brick. One by one, that's how you build something that lasts. See, most people don't fail because they're not talented. Most people don't fail because they're not smart. They fail because they don't respect small beginnings. They look at day one and think, this doesn't matter. They do something once or twice and say, it's not working. They want to skip the reps, skip the struggle, and go straight to results. But success doesn't work like that. Success is not an event. It's a process, a slow grind, a daily discipline. You want a six-pack? You don't do 1,000 sit-ups in one day. You do 50 a day for 6 months. You want to start a business? You don't build an empire overnight. You take one client, one post, one sale, and you repeat that process every single day until you look up and realize you built something unstoppable. You don't become confident by shouting affirmations once. You become confident by showing up for yourself day after day until your habits match your words and your walk matches your talk. Let me break it down. One workout won't change your body, but 100 will. One study session won't pass the exam, but focused daily reps will. One kind act won't change the world, but a life of kindness. That's a legacy. Growth isn't in the explosion. It's in the repetition. You water a seed every day, not just when you're in the mood. And that seed, it doesn't break the soil tomorrow. It grows in the dark, quietly, until one day it breaks through because you never stop watering it. Your goals work the same way. Your growth is silent at first, invisible. But if you stay consistent, if you stay faithful, one day the world will see what you built in silence. Stop disrespecting small steps, because what you call small might be the most powerful part of your journey. A 10-minute walk becomes a 10K. A single journal entry becomes a best-selling book. A 5-minute morning routine becomes a changed life. You don't need a big move. You need a small one, repeated with heart, with discipline. But here's the problem. Small steps are easy to do and easy not to do. That's the trap. It's easy to skip. Easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. But every time you skip, you kill momentum. And momentum is the difference between failure and success. You think people who win have some magical gene? No, they just take small steps when other people take days off. You want to separate yourself? Do what others are too lazy, too distracted, or too undisciplined to do every single day. Every single day. Show up when no one claps. Grind when no one's watching. Keep going when results are slow. Because I promise you this, consistency compounds. And the small things done faithfully build into something massive. That's the formula. That's the blueprint. And you already have everything you need to start. You don't need more talent. You don't need better timing. You just need daily movement in the direction of your dreams. So here's what I want you to do. Pick one goal. Choose one small step and do it every single day. No excuses. You'll have hard days. You'll have days when it feels pointless. But don't stop. Because behind every overnight success, it was 1,000 daily steps no one saw. Remember, small steps, done daily, lead to massive growth. That's not a quote. That's your life if you want it bad enough. Listen to me. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how gifted you were born. If you don't put in the work, you will fold when the pressure hits. That's the truth. Because panic lives where preparation doesn't. The reason some people break down under pressure isn't because they're weak. It's because they didn't put in enough practice to feel confident when the moment arrived. You ever seen somebody crumble in a big moment? They freeze, choke, hesitate. And it ain't because they don't want it. It's because they didn't practice enough to trust their instinct. Practice isn't just physical reps. Practice builds your mindset. It builds your mindset. It builds your reflexes. It wires your brain and body to perform. So when the lights are on, you don't have to think. You just execute. You think champions think their way through the game-winning shot? Nah, they've done it so many times. Their body says, I got this. And that's what preparation does. Let me give it to you plain. The more you practice, the less you panic. Because panic shows up when you're unsure. Panic shows up when your confidence is fragile. But when you've trained for real, you don't shake under pressure. You shine. You got a dream. That's great. But dreaming without practicing is a setup for fear. It's a setup for failure. You get nervous during interviews, speak more. You freeze during tests, study deeper. You fall apart under stress. Train your mindset every day. Stop saying, I'm not good under pressure. Not until you get it right, but until you can't get it wrong. You panic when you walk into a room you're not prepared to dominate. You panic when life throws a punch and you never learn how to bob and weave. But you practice that jab, you practice that footwork, you practice that mental discipline. And watch what happens the next time adversity comes your way. You'll be ready. Let me tell you something. Pressure ain't going away. Life will always test you. So the question is, will you break or will you be built? If you don't want to panic, then prepare like your life depends on it. Because sometimes it does. You want peace? Practice. You want confidence? Practice. You want power? Practice. And let me be real with you. Not all practice is created equal. Half-hearted reps, that's trash. Going through the motions, that won't cut it. I'm talking about intentional, focused, locked in, no distraction practice. That's the kind that reprograms you. That's the kind that rewires your instincts. And let me hit you with this. The panic you feel now is the result of the preparation you skipped yesterday. So if you want a different tomorrow, you've got to start preparing today. Every time you put in the work, you take away fear. Every time you push through discomfort, you replace hesitation with hustle. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you prove to your mind that you are ready. You think you'll be calm when it's your time to shine. You will, if you've earned that calm through reps. Repetition is what makes you confident. Repetition is what kills doubt. You don't panic when you've seen it before. And that's what practice does. It lets you experience pressure before it counts. So when it does count, you're not guessing, you're executing. I need you to get this. When your habits are built on practice, your confidence is built on truth. You don't hope you'll succeed. You know you will. So stop praying for the pressure to disappear. Start preparing so well that pressure bows to you. Every single rep you do today is a brick in the wall that protects your mind from panic. Every drop of sweat is a vote for the version of you that doesn't break, but rises. So practice like your reputation is on the line. Of course it is. Practice like your future depends on it because it does. Practice like this is the only shot you'll get. Because it might be. Because when you've done the work, I mean really done the work, you won't fold. You won't fold. You won't fear. You won't panic. You'll rise. You'll lead. You'll dominate. And they'll ask, how did you stay so calm under pressure? And you'll say, I practiced for this. Let me say this loud and clear so you never forget it. You can't fake greatness. You can fake cool. You can fake popularity. You can fake confidence for a little while. But you can't fake greatness because when the lights come on and the pressure hits and it's your moment to shine, your work will speak for you or it won't. You either earned it or you did or you didn't. There's no middle ground, no shortcuts, no Instagram filter. Greatness is not a performance. It's a lifestyle. And where is it earned? In practice, when no one's looking, when the stands are empty, when it's just you, the grind, and your purpose staring you in the face. See, everybody wants to be great, but most people just want to look great. They want the applause, the trophies, the followers, the spotlight. But they don't want the sweat, the grind, the early mornings, the late nights, the tears, the sacrifices. And that's the difference. Greatness is earned before the world sees you. It's earned in repetition. It's earned in the silence. It's earned when you show up again and again and again, even when you don't feel like it. Let me break it down. You can't fake fluency in the fourth quarter. You can't fake focus in the final exam. You can't fake strength when life knocks you flat on your back. You either put in the work or you didn't. You either practiced the skill or you did. You either studied the playbook or you did. You either disciplined your mind or you did. Greatness doesn't care about your intentions. Greatness doesn't care about your excuses. Greatness doesn't care about your potential. It only responds to practice. And practice ain't sexy. Practice isn't viral. Practice isn't glamorous. But let me tell you this, practice is holy because it's in practice where legends are built. It's in practice where confidence is forged. It's in practice where your character is tested. You earn greatness by doing the things most people won't do. And not once, but every single day. I know some of you feel frustrated right now. You're saying, I'm not getting results. I'm showing up, but I'm still getting beat. And I hear you. But let me ask you something. Are you practicing with excellence or just checking boxes? Because you don't become great by doing average reps. You become great by doing intentional reps. Focus reps. Purpose reps. Purpose-driven reps. Reps that push you past comfort into growth. You think Kobe Bryant showed up and just shot around? Nah, he had a routine, a mission. He showed up hours before everybody else, doing the same moves 1,000 times until his body couldn't forget. That's what practice does. It burns greatness into your DNA. You want to be great? Then practice like you already are. Practice like you're preparing to own your moment. Because when the spotlight comes, there's no time to pretend. You either have it or you don't. And the only way to have it is to earn it in practice. Practice when you're tired. Practice when no one believes in you. Practice when you're not getting applause. Because greatness doesn't need a crowd. It just needs consistency. Let me tell you something else. Your results are a reflection of your practice. You can talk all day, post all day. But if you haven't done the work in private, your results will betray you in public. You want to be a speaker? Don't just dream. Get in the mirror and rehearse. You want to be a business leader? Don't just dress the part. Study, grind, learn. You want to be the best. Don't just say it. Practice like it every day until nobody can deny it. Because guess what? When you put in the work, you don't have to boast. Your results do the talking. Your impact makes the noise. And your greatness walks in the room before you do. So what's it gonna be? You going to keep faking it, or are you finally ready to earn it? Get off the stage, get in the gym, get out of the fantasy, get in the process. Because at the end of the day, the scoreboard don't lie. The results don't lie. The practice shows up every time. You want to be great? Then stop pretending. Stop posing. Stop procrastinating. Put in the reps. Earn it in practice, because you can't fake greatness. You can only become it. Listen to me, real close. Your future isn't built when people are watching. It's not built on stage. It's not built when you're in front of the camera or under the spotlight or holding a mic in front of thousands. Your future is built when nobody is watching. When it's just you, the grind, and the discipline to keep going. People want to shine without sweating. They want the moment without the months and years it takes to become ready for that moment. But let me tell you something. If you haven't built it in practice, you'll break on the platform. You see a performer on stage, and they make it look effortless. What you don't see are the thousands of hours behind closed doors. The rehearsals when their voice was gone. The nights when no one clapped. The mornings they didn't want to get up, but did anyway. Because they understood something most people never grasp. Practice is where the real work gets done. It's where your foundation is laid. It's where your destiny is carved. One rep, 1 hour, one lonely session at a time. The spotlight don't make you great. It just exposes what you've been doing in the dark. If you ain't built it behind the scene will destroy you. If you haven't earned it in the shadows, the light will blind you. Let me tell you from the heart, you don't prepare for the stage on the stage. You prepare for the stage in the grind. You prepare for the stage in the silence. You prepare for the stage when your friends are sleeping, your phone is dry, and your motivation is gone, and you still show up. Because practice ain't pretty, but it's powerful. Everybody sees the outcome, but they never ask about the process. They love the highlight, but they skip the hustle. And I'm telling you, the hustle's where it happens. The early mornings, the late nights, the extra hour when nobody told you to stay, the 1,000th rep, the rewrite, the retry, the restart. The world only sees your future when you succeed, but that future, that success, it was born in the practice. You got dream, good, but dreams without discipline are delusion. You can fantasize all day, but until you get serious in practice, you're not building anything real. You want to win the championship? It's decided in training camp. Camp, not on game day. You want to drop a viral track? It's written in studio sessions that went nowhere for years. You want to dominate the boardroom, then sharpen your mind in every quiet moment no one's watching? The future you want, the life you want, it don't come from luck. It comes from labor, and that labor starts in practice. Let me ask you something. What are you doing when no one's watching? Because that's who you really are. That's who's building your future. Are you coasting? Are you checking boxes? Are you showing up halfway, hoping it'll be enough? Or are you grinding like everything depends on it? Are you training like the door to your future is opening tomorrow and you refuse to walk through it unprepared? Because here's the truth. The spotlight doesn't build you. The spotlight reveals you. And if you're not ready, it will break you. But when you've trained for it, oh man, when you practice for real, you don't flinch. You don't freeze. You don't fake it. You walk in that moment and you own it, not because you're lucky, not because you're hyped, but because you're ready. Because you've been in that gym alone. You've been on that field in the cold. You study, sacrifice, suffer, and now it's time to show what you build in silence. So don't chase the stage. Chase the standard. Chase the daily grind that prepares you for anything life throws your way. You want to know how I built this? I built it in the dark. I built it when nobody knew my name, when nobody cared, when I was overlooked, underestimated, and broke. But I practiced like I was already on top. And now that I'm here, I don't panic, I don't fold, because I've been here before, in practice. So don't beg for the spotlight. Earn your future in practice. And when the lights come on, let the world meet the warrior you built in the shadows. I need you to hear me on this one. Every master you admire, every legend, every icon, every expert started where you are. They were awkward. They were uncertain. They were slow. They were average. They were beginners. But what separates the masters from the masses? What separates the legends from the lost? They practiced more than everyone else. They didn't just want it. They worked for it. They didn't just talk about it. They trained for it. They earned it in the dirt. You looking at greatness like it's a gift, but it ain't a gift. To grind, a relentless, obsessive, day after day grind. You think Serena Williams came out the womb a champion? You think Michael Jordan never missed a shot as a kid? You think Elon Musk started by building rockets? No, they were beginners, just like you. But they committed to one thing you're still afraid of. They got obsessed with the process. They didn't need applause. They didn't need permission. They just needed the hunger. Every master you look up to practiced through the pain. They practiced through the hate. They practiced through the failure. They didn't stop because it got hard. They kept going because it was hard. See, too many of y'all want to start at the top. You want the results without the reps. You want the stage without the steps. But that's not how greatness works. Greatness is not inherited, it's practiced. The beginner picks up the violin and sounds like chaos. The master makes it sing because they spent years getting every note wrong until they got it right. The beginner steps in the ring and gets hit. The master dances in the ring because they took hit after hit and came back smarter, stronger, and sharper. So don't let being a beginner discourage you. Let it drive you. Because the greatest thing about being a beginner, you've got nowhere to go but up. But here's the truth. Only the bold keep showing up. Only the disciplined keep practicing when they suck. Only the hungry take those ugly first steps and keep stepping anyway. You think I was born speaking to millions? No, I was stuttering, nervous, unknown. But I practiced, I studied, I recorded, I rewrote. I gave speeches when only 2 people showed up, and I gave it like it was 10,000. I respected the beginning, and I gave it everything, because that's what masters do. They don't run from the basics. They dominate the basics over and over until it becomes instinct. You want to know how to separate yourself? Don't compare yourself to the master. Compare yourself to yesterday's you. Are you better than you were last week? Are you pushing harder today than you did when you started? That's how mastery is born. See, most people quit at the beginner stage. They try once. It's not smooth. It's not easy. And they're out. But the ones who become great, they stay. They fail, but they stay. They cry, but they stay. They get criticized, but they stay. They lose, but they learn, they stay. And while everyone else is running, quitting, hiding, or blaming, they're still practicing. Practice is the price of greatness. This is the toll you pay. It's the mountain you climb. And only those who climb it get to stand on top. So stop idolizing masters and start emulating their habit. They're not magical. They're not superhuman. They just kept showing up long after others quit. That's your path. Start ugly. Start scared. Start confused. But start and then practice until you're undeniable. Practice until your skills catch up to your vision. Practice until one day people call you a master. But when they do, you'll know the truth. You're still practicing. Because real masters, they never stop learning. They never stop practicing. So here's your challenge. Out-practice everyone. Outlast everyone. Outlove the grind. Be the one who never gave up on being great. Because greatness doesn't happen someday. It starts now with your next rep, your next try, your next practice. You want to be a master? Then act like one, practice like one, and one day you'll become one.